Hello everyone, welcome to today's review session. Today I'll be starting my game reviews for the new NAOL season 21. We have 5 weeks of games to review. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, this first game between Thanush, 2K is black, and Dawei Zhang, 0202, 2Q is white. Somebody had to leave early, so we really just have an opening in this game, but we should still give it our full attention. And that also means I have more time to review the other games too. So the other 4 players, that's a bonus for them. So, okay, so we get this, we get approach, we get pincer, and while the most common way of playing this is d5, this is inviting one of the more complicated josekis that is played nowadays. Kind of like if you know the Avalanche or Muramasa's Sword or the Taisha. Those are kind of pre-AI josekis that were considered very complicated. Nowadays you have josekis like Flying Knife. This one does not have a specific name, but if white pushes and cuts, this can create a lot of complications. And if you don't know these variations, then it can kind of spell the game for you pretty early on. So I'm all about finding ways to avoid the complicated josekis, even again with AIs might consider the way of playing a little lax. So I like to play G5. This is the way I like to play to avoid the push and cut. But black plays here, which is very old school, but again, it is, or maybe I should say was, a move that was played a lot pre-AI. White backs off, black attaches and makes a group here. Yeah, black has time to play here. While a lot of cases, this Atari is a little too much for white. Because of the stone at f4, actually, there's no co-threats early on, so white can't fight this co. f4 is actually in the perfect spot for black. So even though white is in the corner, white's 2 outside stones are very isolated. So yeah, white has to back off, then black goes down. And if you notice here, while f4 in some circumstances is pretty slow, I want to look at it as the glasses, as opposed to the glass being half empty, being half full. Let's say black did this immediately, like this, right? And then let's say white did get a move here, and it was black went elsewhere again. This would actually be the spot white would want to play to attack black's shape. White's threatening d5, and if black even comes out and white answers, you can see f4 is in the perfect spot. So this is actually the shape point of black's group. So that's where it's actually okay to have this stone at f4. But what's very important to notice here is black pretty much has indestructible fortress in the lower left, meaning this group cannot die. And as soon as this group cannot die, white's outside groups can be counterattacked. Because remember, white has pincered first. And so white is immediately putting more pressure on black because locally black is outnumbered 2 stones to 1 stone. But once black lives, black is not fully alive. That means white needs to either do something about the stones nearby or, let's say, have a plan for them. So if I'm white here, once black gets super strong, I'm playing some move on the bottom. I might jump out here to try to build a big bottom, or even if you just back off like this, or even a move that plays towards the bottom but is prioritizing the corner. These are all possible. It's also important to note that the left side, while it has a base, is not fully alive either. So even playing a move this extension is quite nice as well. When white goes elsewhere completely, and white gets gote, black has a lot of choices here on how to continue. Black could simply just pincer on the bottom somehow, maybe here or here. Black could even play a move like c9. Because while c9 isn't immediately dangerous for white if white goes elsewhere, black now turning at b2, now white's not fully alive. And once white is not fully alive, white's going to get pushed around. So that's why while the corner is big, I wouldn't say it's the most important. Now again, this is where I said like white needs a plan as opposed to not necessarily have a move with or to help h3 directly. So for example, if black goes here, and white's willing to give up the stone, then that's probably okay, right? I got the corner. Black can take the bottom stone. and I'll go on my merry way. But if you tried to fight here like this, that's when then you would be running into some problems, where now this 3 stones here, this traffic light is not going to be worth anything, and black's going to just rip out your whole bottom then. So yes, so black goes here, then white helps the bottom, and then black goes here. Again, this is a very nice move as well. It's setting up a double wing. So black has a double wing, by the way, is an extension from a corner both ways. So if you look at black's upper left corner, black has an extension towards the top and now an extension towards the lower left, or the left side. And that was like when I was getting better in the like early 2010s, that was like, if you could make that, you were basically winning the game. Like that was priority number 1 in opening, is make a double wing, and conversely, get rid of the double wing for your opponent. And white plays here. Now, the problem with this move, once again, is when black jumps here, identify white's weak stones. White has a weak stone at D11 now, that white just played. White's lower left is weak, and so is white's bottom stone here at H3. So white is creating a lot of fragmented groups. And again, if you plan to sacrifice H3, this is probably okay. But this is where I would just be kind of calm, and I would just jump here. And if black wants to solidify the left side, I haven't created another weak group. And now when I play away, or when I play towards the upper left, I'm not playing close by to my weak stones. Because sometimes it is possible to use a strong group to threaten a connection. So for example, let's say white had pushed here and black, I don't know, did something else, and then I played here. This would be better because now when white jumps up, black is only separating white. There is no counterattack towards the lower left now. White could just help the upper left now. But it's the fact that white is still not alive on the bottom left. So if white does something like this and black turns at B2, once again, black has many groups to attack. So yeah, the other problem with D11 is, yes, it's threatening to connect on top. Like if black goes elsewhere, obviously white can play here. The problem when black jumps here, there is no other connection. Whereas if you play on the third line, there is a connection here underneath, like so. There's a very common connection, or good connection to know, famous connection, where you're going to give up the stone, but in exchange, you're going to separate black's stone in the center, like this. And even if black captures that stone at B9, it's not worth that much. So yeah, and let's say there's many ways black can try to prevent this, but the other thing to note is when we're on the third line, our base is a lot more secured. So it's a lot harder to actually attack my upper left as white because I'm on the third line, whereas comparing that to this, because I'm on the fourth line, my base, I don't really have a base because it can still be undercut both directions realistically. So yeah, so playing here threatens to connect under and also makes a more secure base, like so. Whereas this one doesn't threaten to connect under when black jumps and when I make a base. Even if I played my next extension on the third line, black can still go under. So yes. But white jumps and black pincers, this is okay. White jumps, black jumps, white jumps. And again, it's important to notice white. And this is why you don't need to jump in so early, is you're not making any points with these stones here. And to be fair, black is also not making any points here. But since black is the one attacking you, black can really translate the points that black didn't make here to points elsewhere. So just for example, if black played a move like this and we have to help our stone somewhere, black would be able to translate the left side points into potentially bottom side points. So yeah, and again, you are ripping out black's area, so like it's an eye for an eye almost. But black goes here, and if you're going to play this, this is okay, but I think you need to connect here. I think you need to connect here. Now, maybe black didn't like this shape. The idea is white is too weak to cut on that side, and notice obvious weakness says J10. Now white has 2 cuts here. It's just very ugly for white, actually. Yeah. Now, even if this was going to happen, this is where black, you can just back off a line like this. If white still peeps, the difference is instead of having our stone at G7 where it can still be cut, we have kind of set up in advance the pinwheel shape, which the pinwheel is a very strong shape in any sort of fight. So now those 2 stones are a lot stronger than the 2 stones that could be cut at h7. So yeah, this is where you can play this move. If you want to play this direction. Another way you could play, it's a little vulgar, but you could also just peep, and then play here. Kind of saying, okay, white, I don't know what your wall is going to be doing, and it's a stronger move towards the lower left. And that means, once again, if white has to play in the lower left, then I can keep attacking this side, or I can take the stone on the bottom. Because again, if white plays something here, just turning a b2 is so big. Even if white can live, white's going to have to spend moves on the inside. So, yeah. But black protects this way, allows white to connect. Now black blocks, though, and cut, and yeah, it's a little complicated, but if white had just gone here, something tells me this would be okay for white. Because black can now not connect underneath. It's very hard to connect underneath, I should say. And white stays fully connected. In the game, white goes here and black pushes. Now white's losing these center stones. And to be fair, white can connect under, but the outside is kind of what's getting big now all of a sudden. But unfortunately, this is where one of the players had to leave. And so this is all we have for this game. So yeah, let's move on to game number 2. Okay, we are back with game number 2. We have darthmallrat, 9k as black, versus bishopgoplayer as white. Hello, Kevin. Hello. Which player? You're a bishop. Okay, so you're white here. I will say ahead of time, white plays very well in this game. I'm very impressed with white's play. Very impressed with white's play. So nice job. Yeah. Let's look at this game. So we get a very calm opening here. Black approaches, this makes sense. And white pincers. Now, how do you decide between pincering and backing off, like if white had gone here? Well, always consider what's in the adjacent corners. So for example, if we're looking at the upper left, let's look at the upper right and the lower left, right? So, oh wow, that's very impressive. That's very impressive, and I can tell you are improving at a pretty rapid pace. Yeah. So, because look at black Shamari in the upper right. Not only is it super territorial, but it's even facing the right side, meaning the top side is actually not that valuable for black. And conversely, look at the lower left for white. White can build a big area on the left side. So this is a case where white should be okay with allowing black to take the top, because even if black plays this very normal extension, there's a 4-space gap here, which is enough later for white to jump in. So if this sort of thing happened, white would just be like, okay, I'll just do something else. And again, the left side could grow quite rapidly for white in this game. But when white pincers here and black takes the corner, you can see white's kind of said, okay, now I'm going to take the top, whereas you can take out my left side. But again, the top is actually not that valuable for white. And it's because white doesn't get any sort of counterplay towards the upper right, because it's just a solid group. And the left side, again, was quite large for white to build. Now, white does add a move here, and this is what I mean white. I can tell white's very strong player, or going to be very strong. Because black getting this extension here starts to create odds with f17. And even if white has to either just jump here or even fix, it's just a good sente exchange for black to make to then go elsewhere. Like if white goes elsewhere, yeah, maybe even just extending here, threatening to connect on top, cutting. Yeah, it's just a lot of badness there for white. So this move's very good at m17. Black just fixes and white extends. It's okay. Black extends on the bottom. White splits on the right side. And again, this makes a lot of sense because white's leaving extension either way. 2-space extension either way, I should specify. So white takes that. Black jumps. And white attaches. And again, attach is a nice move to play. white is okay with giving black the upper right for exchange to strengthen the right side. Because black could have continued pressuring the right side somehow. Instead, black prioritized building the bottom, but again, that's fine. Here, here, here. Black pushes, white comes up, and then black comes in. And this is kind of the start of the excitement in this game. Because black is, while shoulder hit is a nice exchange, or try to get a nice exchange, white is surrounding black. So black, as soon as black plays this, black should be thinking of treating this stone lightly. That should be black's MO here. Now white stands up once, and black should one space jump. Again, black should be trying to treat these stones lightly, basically saying, you can take a few stones, but as long as a majority of my stones or even some of my stones live, that's good enough. So whenever you're reducing, you always want to think to treat your stones lightly. You don't want to try to save everything. So then white goes here. So this is a slight mistake. This is a slight mistake only because there is, like, white's move is good. It does what white wants, but there is a better move. White can cut here. White can cut here. So the idea with this cutting here is black is still going to be able to capture these stones, no problem. But white has created a cut in black's shape, and white has inadvertently fixed the push and cut here now. So if white does something else and black tries to push and cut, black cannot do so because of these two stones on the board. And by cutting here as well, it means, like, if we do something else completely different, black cannot play in this direction either because, or this direction as well, because standing up here is also sente. So just by cutting, even though we're going to give up those two stones, we have created a lot of bad aji in black's shape. So when we connect here, we fix our weakness, but when black fixes, now black has no problems with their liberties. Black just is connected, and black's liberties is a-okay here. So yeah, just cut here. Always look to cut, even if you don't plan on saving the stones. Just create a cut, just to make it so black's liberties or your opponent's liberties are not going to be able to connect or get more liberties that way. So yeah, white just connects, and then white goes here. Yep, white wants to help those stones, so that makes sense. Black plays here. This is okay. Black should really be looking to play this way, because if white had stood up anyways, white is still threatening to seal black in. Right, if black goes elsewhere, white can still seal black in, and so black's shape here gets very, very ugly actually. So if you just stand up like this, though, now it's a lot. Black's movement into the center, if you will, is a lot better. So yeah, plus it starts to activate the aji against these three stones. So yeah, so black should play here. And white just connects. Again, this is a okay move because you're connecting your stones, but it'd be better to just continue attacking black on a large scale, because black going down does not help black make any eyes. So just by going here, you actually, believe it or not, you make these two stones worth less. Because if you were to surround these stones now, since you added K17, that's -1 point, right? So just for example, if white goes after these completely, K17 would be minusing a point. Whereas if you never played that move, you see you gained a point here. So even just jumping first, see if black's going to play, and then adding a stone, you made black heavier, so now you can kind of get more when you attack. So yeah, but connecting it's a good move, but yeah, there is slightly better moves. Black turns here, which again, these two stones aren't that big, so I agree with black. White plays here. So actually, again, because white added K17, the top side is now smaller. And white ignored you at D12, black should attack the left side. Black should play here. If white wants to go after these two stones, black should say, okay, I'll let you have them. Because white ignored not only my D13 move, but now my D12 move. So, yeah, black should be attacking these left side stones now. Black jumps up, though. Then white got to answer. And then black jumped again. And then white shoulder hit here. So white here, if you want to attack the top side, that is fine. Like that, I agree with you. White should attack the top side, but you don't want to do it so directly. So in general, you don't want to touch stones that you can attack. Because, for example, if black just answers, every time black answers, black is helping their group get stronger. However that may be in this case. Again, there's a lot of options here. So instead, you want to actually you want to look for black's nearby stones, and you want to lean against black's strong stones. So for example, I would be looking to even shoulder hit here instead, with the idea being if black, yes, okay. Right, okay. So yeah, you were considering the shoulder hit on the bottom, but you went for the center one. Yeah, so just always remember, try not to touch. Oh, okay. So white was trying to make center in the territory. Always remember, though, you don't want to try to make center points, right? The center, corner side center, you want to prioritize the center last. So, yeah. So, yep, you can make some points here, but it's not actually going to be that efficient if you do make the points here. Like something like this. Like there's still wide open area here, and it's actually not even that large of a space either. So that's why, yeah. So don't try to make, yeah, stuff like that, yeah. So don't try to make, if you have to make points in the center, like go for it. But in this case, with the lower left still open, the bottom right still open, and yeah, even the upper left, there's still some weaknesses in black shape. You want to prioritize those first. Yeah, so you could do this shoulder hit, and it could be a case of, well, black seems pretty, like, what if black just takes all the points there, right? And maybe my attack's not going to be that good. And that might be true. Then that's where you can, okay, black has a weak group here. I can actually invade black and say, okay, black, you can't attack me too severely when you yourself have a weak group. So, for example, because white actually does something like this in the game. If black goes kind of too crazy to try to kill this somehow, well, black can't go like so crazy to try to kill this when black has to worry about the top side either. Yes. So it's very light. Yeah, exactly. So yes. But okay. So push, Hane, black jumps. This peep. So whenever you play a move like this, you always have to ask yourself, because you're like, okay, peep equals sente. But what if our opponent goes elsewhere? Because the best Go players, the strongest Go players, are the most stubborn. So let's say black just does something else. Are we going to spend the move to actually push here? And then, so we have to ask ourselves, okay, is it worth it? Well, if we see here, we're realistically just taking like 5-6 points. It's not worth that much. In Gote as well. That's the other key. So, and if black wants to fix, so black in the game does fix by connecting, black should be trying to fix in a more efficient way. So maybe black can attach here, which is sente, and then even jump here. You can see black's exchanges here are quite nice to give black some eye shape, and then white's J14 here is looks kind of silly. So where does white end up going after the peep? Yeah, here. I would just say just go here. Just go here. Because in some cases, you might want to peep from this direction even. Oh, okay. Might have been misreading. And that happens. Oh, what did you say? Oh, okay. Oh, the cutting. I see. Oh, okay. Afraid of the cutting point? Yeah, it's... If you're talking about this cutting point, like this, there is some Aji, but yeah, should be okay if you're Atari, and then cover here, like this. And the thing is, this peep doesn't even fix that. Like the cut would still be here. The attachment. Oh, at H15. Sure. Okay, and that is actually not a bad move, but yeah. When you extend here, black just has very few liberties. So it would be A-okay for you. A-okay for you. But if you're afraid of h15, then your move is actually quite nice then. So, yeah. Okay. But yeah, you go here. Black spinsters, or white goes there, I should say. Black invades. And black wants to attack the upper left. So kind of like how if white wants to attack the top side, white should lean towards the bottom. Similarly, black should play towards the lower left to attack the left side. And the reasoning is, even though you're giving kind of more space to these stones here, we're putting more pressure on where white is strong. Whereas when black plays here and white plays at c5, this creates that connection underneath we were talking about in the first lesson. So now black has to, this is one of the cases where the diagonal is a nice move here because it prevents that connection underneath. But if you play here, now you see black is now attacking white from afar and white isn't creating that potential connection underneath. So, yeah. Black goes there, play there. Yes, white had the right idea here, and actually white ends up kind of playing in a way to help the left side, but white kind of did it in a crude way. So for example, white can simply just peep here. And this is actually the power of this move, of c12. Not only are we threatening to seal black in, but we're also threatening to peep here. Oops, peep here. If the situation calls for it. Which is why one of the other big reasons why I see a lot of players who push here and then like push again. But that's why you don't want to do that, because you lose the agi of potentially peeping at b15. So that should be a spot. As soon as you get c12, that is a spot I would be looking for as white, is to go here. And black's unable to descend when the entire upper left gets cut off. And even in this case, if black can surround the left side, it's still, we're talking about a corner compared to a side. It's just not an equivalent exchange here. So if black has to connect, now we don't need to make this exchange here. We can simply just connect back like this. And we haven't damaged our 3 stones is the key. When white played in the game, when white played here, white took away liberty from the 3 stones. And similarly, white took away liberty from the 3 stones here. And white had to answer. So similarly, white, if white just plays here, even if you don't see the peep, notice black can't really cut this off because then black gets cut off in the center. So that's why even if you wanted to not make the c13 exchange and then play something like this, now we're not damaging the 3 stones. Okay. Hey, and that's why we do these reviews. So I'm glad you see that now. Hopefully you know that now. But yeah, jump. And again, jump's a very nice move. That's a nice move. Descend. Yep. And then fix. And yeah, this is where, like, this is a great shape, but it's not really doing that much for black. Black should just push here immediately. The upper left is fully alive, so black should just be trying to almost profit now. Push and cut like this. When black goes here and white just goes elsewhere, yeah, it's a nice shape, but it really is not doing that much for black. Attach, Hane. And again, this is where I could tell white's going to be a very strong player, because I know so many Q players that would try to save everything here. But just making even making the Hane, like some players would do this, but even making the Hane and then extending is so smart. But black, you should be looking to, white just made a weak group. Black should be looking to attack this somehow. Something like this. If white tries to jump, then that center area white was trying to make starts to dissipate. When black goes here, yes, you're helping your bottom side stones, but yeah, white can then start to help their bottom side stones as well. And then even turning, yeah, notice what white is getting for what black is getting is not equivalent. So yeah, this is also, the turn for white is okay, but black answering, black should just, again, just try to do something else. Play there, Hane, cover, that's huge. White fixed. Truthfully, I think white is strong enough here because of those 3 stones in the center. White can actually fix everything by fixing the Q2 stone. Pretty sure that everything would hold here, but yeah. Connecting is very safe. Black cuts, and then cuts here. White extends, and yeah, so black realized black does not have a ladder. But what black can threaten a ladder. So what is a move in the center that not only threatens to capture the L10 stone, but let's say threatens to capture something else or do something else? That is simply just peeping at K8. So obviously this is threatening to cut here. So if white answers, then black can actually just, it's not even a ladder, it's a net. White can now not save the stones in the center, the cutting stone. And if white helps the center stone, even black pushes once, can even push again. See, it's actually quite hard for white to now keep black sealed in, because black can cut anytime or connect kind of near the Tengen's area, K9 or K10. Because after I probably should have extended M12 instead of N11. M12. Yes, potentially. The way I would play it is I want to get N11 because it starts to help that stone there. So this is a case where I would Atari first and then get M11 like this. Now what I have done is I have forced black to add a stone to that cutting stone. So black has now invested more stones. But now, like this, if black tries to peep, this still threatens to connect, but now black has already added the stone at N10. That's all black gets. So it's a weird case where you actually can Atari the cutting stone because you're so strong. Yeah. It's a tricky position, though. It is a tricky position. And right here, there's an important shape to know here. Simply, and I say simply, but jump across. This is a shape that all players should know. If white blocks, if you Atari either way, nothing still works. Right? Atari there, nothing works. Atari here, nothing works. If you Atari this way, nothing works either. Like this, right? Nothing will work. But what you can do is crosscut, like this. And now there is no way for white to save the L10 stone. It's a classic case of shortage of liberties. Doesn't matter which way white Ataris, white's going to run out of liberties. So, yeah, that means black is going to still be able to use the Aji of these stones. When black goes elsewhere, and white ends up eventually fixing that, then again, these two stones get surrounded just on a kind of large scale. Here, yeah, let's see. Yeah, there is Aji there. So I think that's okay, but yeah, it's tricky, actually. I want to do this, but maybe there is bad Aji in the corner. So it looks a little strange, but maybe this is okay. Black Hanes takes there, that's big. And now we kind of get endgame. And yeah, so now white's fixing the problems in the center. White properly handles the monkey jump. And yeah, oh, sorry, I skipped over a move. This move here. So whenever you get this position here as black, just ask, what is the weakness of the knight's move, right? White has a knight's move here, O18 and M17. It's attachment. So black should be looking to attach here like this. And this would capture the one stone there. There's no way for white to save this stone now. So Haning here is a little slack. We get this. White jumps. Yep, white saves. And yeah, they just kind of wrap up. And again, I'm very impressed with white's play. And to black's credit too, I don't think black played too badly either. So yeah, I'd say let's see. So for black, I would, look how I handled the bottom side and see that white kind of just came in and then just kind of made themselves at home in my area. So I would really try to look to attack a little more severely, as well as seeing how I could have attacked the left side a little bit more. And for white, just seeing how to attack the top middle a little bit better, as well as there's some Aji in the upper left that white missed, as well as trying not to, white did make a lot of points in the center, but in general, you do not want to do that if possible. So yeah, so both sides finish up. And I believe it was white by 20-something. I'll check in a second. But yeah, white played very strongly. And yeah. Game finished up, and it was... Yeah, white by 28.5. So pretty convincing victory. But again, I think it's a good game for both sides because no sides made huge, catastrophic game-ending mistakes. Which again, for high Q level like that, you'll take that. So yeah, nice game by both sides. Let's head over to game number 3. Okay, we are here with game number 3. We have OrigamiJoe, 8K as black, versus BryanX, also 8K as white. So we get this. We get the Shamari. That's fine. We get the pincer. And then we get... So this is one of the most common Josekis you'll see, right? And normal moves for white is either to play here, in which case black plays here. This is old school. Or white plays here. This is new school, aka AI. And we get this Joseki, like this. So these are the two kind of after the pincer and 3-3, and you block towards in this case, the right side. Those are the two Josekis. But in the game, white goes here. And so this is, not that it's a mistake. Like, this move is totally fine, but black's move is a slight mistake. And it has to do with order of moves, believe it or not. So if white were to Hane here, now black runs out of, believe it or not, good moves here. And it might look like, but white has a bunch of weaknesses, and that might be true, but black actually has more weaknesses than white does. So for example, if black tries to capture in the corner, like if white captures here, yes, this would be catastrophic for black, or for white, I mean. But white can simply connect here. And when black tries to capture these two stones, notice this cut now works for white. Because black cannot save here now, because now white can turn. Black's going to lose the 3 stones in the corner. So this would be catastrophic for black. That means black would have to play here. And yeah, you can see this is clearly going to be better for white. And it's because we Haned first. Now look what happens if we play here first. Now if white connects, it'll be the same thing, but now white doesn't get a kind of Ponuki shape in the center, like this. So when we cut now, white has to capture, and now it's the order of moves is slightly different. Now when we Hane, white is unable to Hane back now. White has to capture, black Ataris, white takes, and then I think you can Atari. Yeah, I think you can Atari first and then fix like this. And this was, again, pre-AI, this was a very common Joseki I would see. Yeah, so it has to do with order of moves. So yeah, black just needs to push and cut now, and black would avoid a lot of the complications that could have happened. Now in the game, white just Haned and connected, but yeah, white still came out. And right here, black. So when black goes here, this is the difference between, let's say, an important move and a big move. Playing at f3 is really big, and even letting black get another move there is also very big for black. But there's a very important move on this board, which is white taking this tiger's mouth. White taking this tiger's mouth, if you notice, not only connects all of white's shapes, but it disconnects black's shapes, but also it puts pressure on black's upper right group because we take away a liberty from O15. So where black should play is simply just wedging here. Wedging or even just taking out the tiger's mouth shape. If white has to connect something like this, then even that exchange, you can just see white's shape is just so much worse. But this is where I would just wedge here. White has to Atari this way. White has to Atari down. Like in the other game, we simply just extend once, see how white's going to play. White has to play this way. And even if we leave it now, white's shape is just so much worse. Because we've created cuts here we can use later. We've created Ataris here we can use later. And our shape up top is very strong. So, yeah, black, both players really need to get, whether it's the wedge or make the tiger's mouth. White just answers, get slides. I will say for black, this is very good. Because the normal Joseki is to simply just make a 2-space extension. But with what black has going on the lower right, trying to make a kind of area on the bottom. You want to play high, but if you play the large knights, this creates too much weakness in the large knights. We're going to talk about the weakness of the large knights in a second, actually. But yeah, if you make this shape, there's too much weakness now when white comes in this attacking this shape. So this is a very smart move just to play here. And then yeah, white goes there again. This move is screaming. Black splits. And again, kind of like in the last game, black properly creates two-space extension either way. And then white goes here. And this move is... How should I say this? This move can work in some circumstances. We'll see that in this case, it was not the correct timing. Simply because in the game, black goes here and allows white to connect either way. So in this case, this is going to work for white. But instead, black should play under like this. Notice in this case, black would be taking the territory / making a base. And now if white tries the same kind of sequence here, white would just be making an outside area, but it's not even that great because there's a lot of cuts. So whenever you have thickness, it needs to be, thickness is defined as there's no weaknesses for, let's say, your opponent to exploit. Whereas in this case, you can see there's not only cuts, but peeps and weaknesses in white shape. So this actually isn't really thickness because white has a bunch of weaknesses in white shape. Yeah, so if black had just Hane'd underneath, white would not have gotten such a good result. Now, even with this, like this, okay, black wants to Hane here, right? Double Hane to separate white. But the problem is if black does this, white can Atari first and then connect. And now black can't get the double Atari. But this is where order of moves is very important. Black can Atari first, like this. And now white needs to go down. Now this is an Atari. And if white takes, now black connects. And now black would be properly separating white's groups here. Because black wants to be able to attack the lower side, lower left if possible. Now I say if white connects, believe it or not, there is a way white can avoid this, but it's not great. Because the only way for white to avoid this is by going here and playing this huge ko. Huge ko. And the thing with this ko, believe it or not, it is kind of a flower ko for black. Yeah, believe it or not, because it was kind of white's area anyways. Like if you compare this to the game, like white's going to be taking that side anyways. But if you look at this position here with this ko, where does black have ko threats? Well, black has ko threats in the upper right. So if white has to finish off the ko, then black gets huge compensation on the upper right. Huge compensation. So, yeah. So, this is a good order of moves. You want to double Hane, but white can Atari first. So, you just need to cut first and then Atari. So, this is a good example of order of moves here. Otherwise, the result here is just like descending here and then letting white cut. Yeah, it's just not a great result for black. Black even ends in gote, and like I guess black does get some thickness, but we'll see black never really ends up using this thickness. White goes there. This is now the perfect time to break the shape here. Now black pushes like this, but now it doesn't work as well. Yeah, even after this, white can still live. So yeah, so it's again, it's an interesting position because black had all this time to wedge. But once white adds a stone, that's when black wedged. So, yeah. Black, you should have looked to have done it sooner. Like there. Black descends, white lives. White Ataris connect. And then we get this position here, right? Where black is starting to make a huge right side. When white pushes here, if you're black, where would you play? Where would you play if you're black? Think about it for a second. Now, always remember, when you have a moyo, you want your opponent to jump in. It sounds a little counterintuitive, but you want your opponent to jump in so that you can attack them with zero mercy. You have your entire infantry is facing any stone that would happen to jump in. So I would Hane here, and if white Hane's back, I would double Hane. And again, if white wants to jump in and try to make points here, I would say to them, good luck. Because if white ever jumps in, whether white goes here, I'll just pincer, and you see it's just white has no allies nearby. I have full thickness. That means I have all the ladders. It means I can just, not that you want to go on an all-out attack, but you have the option to just attack white mercilessly. What black does in the game, though, is play here. And the problem with this move is you're almost playing inside your own potential. So if you're going to play in this kind of thickness-oriented way, you have to be willing to fight. But this would be just playing inside your own territory, in a sense. So, yeah, just Hane here. And again, if white cuts, again, no ladders work. We're alive in the upper right. Just good luck, white. There's just no real weakness for you to look at. It's just very uncomfortable. So white comes in. Black takes out the extension. And then white dives under. And this goes back to just, do you know your weaknesses or not? So I was mentioning earlier about the weakness of the large knights. And so this will be another example of the weakness of the large knights. So, especially when you have stones nearby. So look at this shape here. What is the weakness of this large knight's move? It is simply to play K2. When I play K2, I am simply saying, I am going to connect to my N3 stone or my H4 stone. So if white descends here, I will be able to connect back. If white takes the elephant eye, though, similarly, I will play back here. So, yeah, that is the kind of simple way of just taking out white's space there. Now, that is white's weakness, but to be fair, white is also taking out the weakness of my group. Right? I have a double knight's move here that can be dangerous. So believe it or not, even though you're taking away white's good extension, it would actually probably be better to just play a J3. Because once again, if white does extend here, we can still attack this group somehow. And we're secure on the bottom. White will make a few points here, but not that many. And then we can play somewhere in white's upper side somehow. So this is how you would want to attack it. But again, I say there's some weakness here because if white, well, it's kind of tricky. But if white plays something like this, yeah, notice white's now taken away our base. So it can be a little dangerous. But black attaches, and this is not the weakness of the shape, because white pushed, but white could have simply just extended here like this, and it's just next to impossible to now kill the white group. So, yeah, white cuts though, and yeah, right here, white went here, which again, this is a very good shape point. Like so far, they're very much, black and white are very much playing at their rank, if you will, right? You can very much tell they are, high IQ players. But to their credit, their next moves are like amazing. I would have thought they maybe got someone else to play for them because their next moves are so good. Because this move is so amazing. This move is so amazing. It's saying, well, black, you can't Atari this way because I have now hit your snapback. I'm creating a snapback now. But if you Atari this way, well, then you're creating your own weakness here. So you're forcing me to take one of your, or make your other side weaker. So this move is amazing. Now I will say though, in this position, all I need to do is whites is live. And with the top and the left side, you can see black would really only have the right side, and black even has this weak group on the left side. That's the one thing black maybe didn't realize, is when black was pushing here, black is ever so slightly making the left side weaker. If white wanted to, white could have like peeped and then jumped. You can see black has no base. Black has no eyes. So I just really need to live here as white. So I would just cut Atari and then connect. And you can see black just has too many problems. Black has to make sure this extension isn't a problem. Black has to make sure white's move in the game is still not a problem. And yeah, and in one move, I'm threatening to live as well. So this would just be a huge headache for black. In the game, though, black smartly just Ataris here. And now white is fully sealed in. This is what I mean by, like, now white is dead locally. White has to make sure something works on the outside. So white throws in, plays here, Hane, Atari. And as we can see, it is 5 liberties to 4 liberties. So I will say one final thing is for black here, or one thing for black I will say is black should cut here now. This is inadvertently fixing this weakness here. Right now, if I stand up, these 2 stones are weak. But what it's doing is it's also giving me more liberties. Because, for example, let's say black did something else completely, and there's not a cut there. It would now be 4 liberties to 5 liberties. White would now win the semi-eye. So this is threatening to... So that is why black played M2, is to win the semi-eye. But before I play M2, I should play here first to see how white's going to play. Because we'll see. Later in the game, black ends up playing here, and white just lets black take that stone. But if white's going to let black take that stone, black doesn't need to add M2. M2 is only valuable because I'm trying to win a semi-eye, but I can also win a semi-eye by extending my liberties. So black should just cut here right now, and now white has a headache. Which is why also there's something to be said about white just playing here. This threatens to snap back. It doesn't get rid of black's liberties, but notice now there's no weakness in white's shape. I would then go and attack this left side, like this. This seems pretty tricky for black. I don't think black can live locally, and with J6 coming anytime, like black cannot run this way because, again, there's weaknesses. Black has to answer J6. You can see there's just no real way to break through white's shape. So I think throwing in, if there was an actual liberty race, I think throwing in is obviously okay because you get rid of liberties. But with this cut here, yeah, again, like maybe white just needs to connect here at this point. So yeah, it's complicated, but yeah, M2 is a slight mistake. Black should cut now. So white Ataris, then goes here. Black connects again. This probably play a slightly better move because you're playing this because you're worried about some sort of ladder. But realistically, there's no real ladder problem. So Hane at the head of 2 stones like this. Yeah. And again, there is potential like squeeze like this. And yeah, like, again, it's very complicated. But just connecting here, again, kind of one-dimensional. If anything, maybe make better shape or even take away liberty. Want to do something like this. But, okay. Goes there, white extends, black makes diagonal. Usually you want to just stand up, because if white hanes, you're still going to play h7 anyways. So maybe it doesn't matter that much, but in general, diagonal is not great for liberties, because look, you actually haven't extended your liberties on the 2 stones here, which either the 2 stones that need to have more than 4 liberties, which that's it. White only has 4 liberties. So black just needs more than 4, and black's going to capture these stones. So and this is what I mean, like, noticing that this cut, white still cannot capture my stones. That's not easy to see, which is why I'm saying, like everything here is perfect that both sides do. White Ataris, black takes. White Ataris first, black fills. Black knows there's not a ladder here, but white even smartly clamps here. This is such a crazy move. Because even if black Ataris here, black cannot connect to the left side still. If you Atari this way, you die. If you connect, you still die. So black has to Atari this way. So now white is cutting off the left side. Now, so this is where, like, white kind of got what white wanted, although white did invest a lot of stones on the bottom. But remember, all black needs is 4 liberties. All black needs is 4 liberties. So black cuts, which this is actually possible, believe it or not. This is not, let's say, the problem where black's problems start. Always remember, even if you don't have the ladder, there is always the net. So black should just net here like this. Black should just net here like this. If white tries to save the stones here, notice white would not be helping their liberties. In fact, when black extends here, white would actually be dying before black is. So, yeah, just Ataring from behind, again, that took away one of black's liberties, yes. Atari, connect. Okay, white stands up. Black still has 4 liberties, so it's okay. Play there, yes. Okay, black goes there, okay. Then black hanes here, which this is very aggressive. Now, I know what black's trying to do. Black's, like, technically white is not connected either, but there's just not a lot of agi with these stones. So, again, black should just be thinking about liberties. At turn here, black Ataris, and then goes here. This was a misread. White can throw in. Again, this is very nice. Black Ataris. But notice, black kind of lost track of what was important. Because black needed 4 liberties. But now, all of a sudden, like even right here, black, you can capture these stones. Now, again, if white gets in the right side, that is still a problem. But you need to save these center stones. What happens is black answers and white hanes, and black now doesn't have enough liberties. If black plays here to get the most liberties possible, it is 3 liberties to 4 liberties. So black's main goal was to just keep their liberties intact. And yeah, black just lost track. So black goes back to the left side here, like this. And it's important to note here, white, this move does not threaten to make any eyes. So white can simply just ignore this move, and if black takes, believe it or not, this move is also not sente, but even if you did take now, black would have no eyes. The reason why this move is not sente technically is even after if black connects and we connect, black only has 1 eye on the left side. But yeah, always, in general, capturing 2 stones is not an eye. There are many cases in life and death, especially on the first line, but 2 lines is not, or two stones is not an eye. So it's true here too. It also means this move is not sente either. So just go here. But yeah, connect, hane. And again, very, very nice. Again, I think technically this does live too, because you can, actually, no, it doesn't. I had a lapse in judgment there. This is the move that works, yeah. Which again, that's very, very strong. But then white goes here. Which, again, count the liberties, right? White has 4 liberties, we have 3. But if we, let's say we push, this is going to be sente. If we simply start to fill liberties, white is going to have to, white cannot Atari, white cannot do other things because I still have 3 liberties. So white has to take away liberties. And notice in doing so, I'm going to be able to connect. White captures in the center, but I'm going to be able to connect underneath. Because of a white can't play at J1. But what happens is black connects here, takes away their own liberties, and then tries to connect. But now, when I Atari here, white has time to simply just Atari back, and I can't connect. So, if black just did the thing they were going to do, play here, black would have been able to connect. But in doing so like this, now black dies in the lower left. So, yeah, then we get here. So one final key point of this game is white invades. And once again, it's even more dire for white. Now we have even more firepower facing this white stone. And this is a case where, first off, if it was me, I would probably pass. Because, and again, I know I'm strong enough to be able to do that. But there is just so much strength nearby. This is where you can go crazy. If you've ever played that kind of, what would it be called? Go variant or like Go side game, if you will, where you put black stones all around on the first line, like all around the first line, but you give black 2 eyes, and you say, okay, white has to live, and if white lives, white wins. This is kind of that position, where black has so much strength, black should just be looking at shape points, key points, and just pushing white down. So this is fine. White goes here. Like, once again, you're so strong that if you just do anything, it doesn't matter if white breaks through because you're just so strong. But okay, this is fine. Again, you can just peep here because white Ataring here, there's just nothing in the center. This is the strength of strength. This is the strength of thickness. But okay, you extend, white goes here, and remember, 2 eyes is alive. 1 eye is not alive. So if you just reduce white's base here, like this, there's just no way for white to make 2 eyes here. Right? Something like this. There's just no way for white to make 2 eyes. And you can even be more aggressive. So when you have so much strength, you want to just push your opponent down to the second line. Because remember, you need, 7 spaces on the second line to make 2 eyes? So if you let your opponent not have 7 spaces, you're going to be okay. But black goes from the inside, which even if you didn't have all the strength, this is not the right idea. Because you want to squeeze your opponent's base from the outside. You want to make it as small as possible, as opposed to playing from the inside. Now again, you're so strong here that this move will still work. But black extends, And now this is a problem. There are no liberties on the first line, right? All these moves here are very low on liberties. So when white Hane's here, yeah, black just gets separated and just dies on a very large scale. So you could maybe say it's a resign sequence, but yeah, you definitely had a chance to kill black. Now, again, it is important to be said that white was still winning with, even if you did live, but still, like, or even if you killed, but yeah, it did not need to end like this if you want to think of it that way. So yeah, so just play from the outside. Make your opponent's base as small as possible as opposed to throwing in. That's a general rule of thumb. But yeah, that's the end of that game here. Black resigned here for a good reason. And yeah, that's it for my round 1 review for season 21. And I look forward to the games, to review the games from round 2 next week.